So I believe that the opportunity to lead a great life should be within easy reach of every single child, period. This is why I've committed the last 22 years of my life to the Boys and Girls Club. That's my why. So I believe that no matter what zip code kids are born into, what color their skin is, what religion they practice, who they love, or how they identify, that the opportunity to live a great life should be within grasp of every single child, and I just do. To me, this is the American dream, and I'm all in on it. But unfortunately, the opportunity to live a great life is not within easy reach of every kid. The path to success for too many kids in this country is far too challenging and far too uncertain. Advancing beyond the dysfunction that many children are born into in America today, and I mean rural America, suburban America, and the inner city America, is more complex than most people realize. The risk factors that children face are layered on top of each other. Each successive issue further complicates the previous. Generational poverty, broken families, racism, drug abuse, under-resourced schools, poor health, little access to good food, first-hand exposure to violence. No matter what, our kids have to shoulder on, grind it out, suck it up, pull themselves up by their bootstraps, as the expression goes. Our kids don't have the luxury of sitting around and complaining that they're playing with the deck of cards that's stacked against them, but they are. For our black boys, that path to success is even narrower, and the consequences of straying from the path more dire. Heck, even when our black boys are on the path, it's dangerous. No, the opportunity to live a great life is not within the grasp of every single child. The inequality in this country is a real issue. And to me, there are a few signs that we're addressing it with the urgency that's required. There's a quote from Martin Luther King about the fierce urgency of now. He talks about how tomorrow has become today, and about how there is a day when acting is too late. The disparity between wealth and poverty in this country is a problem. Racism is a problem. Underinvestment in education is a problem. Housing affordability is a problem. To be honest, and maybe more honest than I should be, I sometimes worry that the Boys and Girls Clubs aren't being used as a Band-Aid to cover up a problem that requires much more time, energy, and sacrifice than anyone is willing to invest. To me, we're recklessly heading down a path and hoping for a good outcome. I believe that ensuring that the opportunity to lead a great life is within the grasp of every child is not only the right thing to do, I think it's the smart thing to do. We want our kids to dream. We need our kids to dream. As a nation, we need more people pulling on an oar, moving us forward, solving problems, employing people, serving our nation as teachers, youth development workers, nurses, law enforcement personnel, mental health professionals. We need less people who are undereducated and lack the skills for today's economy, never mind tomorrow's. We need less people who are unhealthy and underhoused. We need less people who are convinced, often rightly so, that the deck is so stacked against them that there's no hope for a better life. Look, our kids in San Francisco are lucky. We have a great Boys and Girls Club here. We really do. I say that with a great deal of pride, but a good amount of humility too, but mostly with a deep, deep sense of responsibility. Our success is the result of the drive and ability of our staff, the leadership and effectiveness of our board, and the generosity and consistency of our donors and friends. Boys and Girls Clubs of San Francisco believes that young people are our greatest asset. For thousands and thousands of kids each year, the club is a gateway to a great life, despite long odds. The club is a pathway to success, especially for those from poor and marginalized communities. The club is a portal. Walking through the doors can lead a kid to places they would never imagine they could reach. The club is a trusted friend to both youth and parents. It's a safe place to go every day after school and all day long in the summers. The club is an oasis in the toughest communities, a place where the rules and expectations and standards inside are definitely not what they are outside. The club is the best older brother or older sister a kid could have. At its core, the club is a passionate believer that every child should be heard, valued, loved, and understood. At the club, we stand with children. We motivate them, we inspire them. We teach them, we mentor them. We forgive them. We teach them to forgive themselves. We don't just tell kids that school matters, we teach them why it matters. We find the things in every child that makes them special, and we make sure they understand those gifts and how to trust and believe in what makes them special. We teach our youth to dream, and we back that up with pathways to make those dreams a reality. When a kid is 100% convinced that they have no value and no purpose in life, we put our arm around that kid and we sit with them. And with absolute authenticity, we tell them over and over until that kid absolutely hears us, I believe in you. I see you. You matter. I heard a young man say the other day, I had low self-esteem and no hope until I found the Boys and Girls Club. Often the strongest, the most impactful, most transformative relationship that a young person has is the relationship they have with the Boys and Girls Club staff member. I want to tell you a quick story about the club's impact on one kid's life, a 15-year-old named TJ. TJ is a member of our Columbia Park clubhouse and has long wanted to play for our AAU traveling basketball program, the Rebels. About 3 years ago in an inter-club league, TJ stole 2 cell phones, and he sold them on the street. At first, our director of citywide sports, Nate Ford, vowed that this kid would never play sports again for us. TJ kept stealing and ultimately went to juvenile hall. One day, as Nate was doing some volunteer work at the juvenile hall, he heard TJ yelling for him from the rec room there. Nate ended up going to court with the kid because his mom couldn't go. And Nate told the judge, hey, if you release this young man to me, I'll take him under my wing and I'll mentor him and I'll report back to the probation officer. The judge agreed. TJ and Nate started meeting regularly or talking on the phone just about every other day. They set goals for him for school, and they found him a job so he wouldn't be motivated to steal. It was not an easy road. It was not an overnight success. We don't have a lot of that. It took TJ 2 years to earn a spot on the Rebels team. He finally made it, and last year he wound up traveling to Las Vegas and Los Angeles and Portland and Atlanta to play in tournaments. He finished the season averaging 12.5 points a game, and he was a defensive stopper for his team. TJ's case was ultimately dismissed, and he currently holds a 3.5 GPA from Mission High School. When TJ wandered from the narrow path, we didn't give up on him. We picked him up, we dusted him off, we put him back on the path, and we walked with him for a while. Day after day, week after week, year after year, we walk with him. Today, Boys and Girls Clubs of San Francisco has 15 locations, 8 traditional clubhouses, 5 school-based sites. We run a city park, and Camp Mendocino. We now serve over 1,920 kids a day. As Maxine said earlier, over 2,000 a day recently. This is more than at any point in our 128-year history. We've grown our ADA over the last 4 years by 38%. Last year, 378 teens were put into 412 jobs. We linked our youth to nearly $1 million in college scholarships. 1,140 kids participated in our STEM programs. 24 teens were sent to a Keystone Conference in Atlanta, and 65 kids participated in 2 college tours that we have, starting as young as middle school. What we're doing is working. What we've built is highly effective. And yet, despite that success, despite reaching a scale and depth of impact that's impressive, we still find ourselves teetering between sustainability and needing to retrench and blow up the model in order to match what philanthropy is willing to invest in youth development work. Moving forward, we face some real challenges with the cost of living and doing business in San Francisco. The biggest issue, not surprisingly, is our ability to pay a livable wage to our staff. For sure, there's a breaking point when our staff walk away from the Bay Area and say, I just can't do this anymore. I could do the same work in Portland, Denver, Phoenix, or Dallas and be able to afford to live. When I look around San Francisco and I see all the changes that are happening, There are some great things going on. But there is too little benefit and too much pain from the people we care about most at this organization. This map tells an interesting story. The red are the lowest income areas of our city, and here are where our clubhouses are. When I picture our black and brown kids, our low-income Asian kids, our low-income Arab and white kids, three thoughts come to mind. One, thank God we have such a strong Boys and Girls Club in town. Two, can the club continue to thrive here? And three, how do we reach more kids? So we have a lot of younger folks in the room tonight, so in my final minute, I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you to not just aspire to build a great career or accumulate wealth, but instead aspire to use your abilities and your influence and your networks to shape the world around you and to do it from a kind-hearted place. I encourage you to support policies that lift people up, to change the conversation in rooms that you're in. I encourage you not to outsource all of your philanthropy to someone else. I encourage you to see philanthropy as an opportunity to break down walls that naturally exist between your experience in San Francisco and the experience of our kids and our families. In parts of town you've often not heard of and surely have not visited. See your philanthropy as an opportunity to get to know people, to grapple with the challenges that real people face. At a recent board meeting, a recent board retreat, we heard a clubhouse director talking about the fact that every single one of her 8 staff, several of them full-time staff, every single one had a second job, including her, and quite a few had a third job. I'm confident your direct engagement in nonprofit work will inspire empathy and understanding, and you'll be better off for it. Finally, I'm grateful that you've chosen to spend your Saturday night with us. I really am. I hope you leave tonight inspired by what's possible and motivated by the results of your past and current support to Boys and Girls Clubs of San Francisco. For those of you who have been giving for many years, please know that you've helped us get to this place, the scale that we're at. Again, close to 2,000 kids a day on average, with tremendous programs and great opportunities for kids. Please stick with us. The road ahead for critical nonprofits like us in this town will not be easy. But I believe with a lot of work and with a lot of friends, the best days of this 128-year-old institution can and must continue to lie ahead of it. Thank you.